little instrumental.
Going live, and if you want, we're live now.
Yeah.
Hi, and if you want to contact me, either text me or do it through the private chat because I'm gonna mute my mic.
Okay. Perfect. Hello. Oh, live. I'm live. So I'm live, and I'm filling time for a moment while technical things happen. My beagle is walking around on the floor, just sort of in and around the tower of suitcases that my computer is sitting on. Oh, I didn't go live on Instagram. Hold on 1 second. I'll be on Instagram too, just in case you want to watch me there. Oh, my thing's about to feedback, but everything's fine. That's a nice sound. Okay. It is, I just looked at the time right as it clicked over to 6 p.m. on the dot. Hello, hello, hello. I am Zoe Bookbinder, and I am playing a show at the Pinhook in Durham tonight. That's my beagle being a pest over there. If you heard that. Yeah, I was supposed to be on tour right now, so I am on tour. Quarantine style, social distance style tour. And here's my first song. It's called Mirror. You're good at telling me how you think I ought to be. I'm always telling you what you ought to do. Oh, we really thought it through. There are rules about the words we say about who can take up how much space, and shame on you if you messed up. No apology will ever be enough. No second chance, the doors are shut. Maybe we can never measure up. Though these rules have a reason, we are all flawed humans, so it's often hard to tell. We're all trying hard as hell, and we've learned from the times we failed. We've learned from the times we failed. What are we fighting for, and who's the enemy in this world? We've got our weapons facing it. Isn't that how hate always wins with forgetting where we've been? Where we had already been. There's so much I still have to learn, many bridges I won't mean to burn, people that I may demonize, mistakes I will criticize. I hope one day I will be wise, I will be wise. You're telling me how you think I ought to be. I'm always telling you what you are to do. Oh, we really thought it through. Thought it through. Thought it Hey, I was just looking at your comments while the guitar rang out. Thanks for being here. So that song, Mirror, is about, well, I wrote it and I was thinking about cancel culture and call-out culture, just this form of punitive justice that we use, that we default to in our communities lately. I think that in criminal justice and in our communities, we can often get stuck in a binary of right and wrong, and either someone messed up or they didn't. And so either we banish them or we completely ignore whatever they've done. And I think that there's a different solution, which is neither of those things. It's harder emotionally, maybe, because it takes confronting a person who's caused harm and talking to them about reducing future harm and holding them accountable. Mm-hmm. So that's what that song is possible. And while I don't think ostracizing people from communities is a great way to go, I think sometimes we do need to ostracize people from our lives. Though, like, with accountability when possible, you know. I recently learned how to ostracize someone from my own life, and it's been very freeing. This song is called Haunted, and it's about someone like that I personally ostracized for very good reason. There were two versions of you, who I'd get and never knew. Sometimes you were kind, but often I'd find cold rejection left me hungry for affection. And shame on me to mention wanting attention. Anytime I stood my ground, you would put me down. Instead of apologize, you would criticize. You said I should have known I wasn't wanted, and though I left you by those words I'm haunted. I should have known I wasn't wanted. You you would hang around and say you needed more time away. You said I wanted too much and never said I didn't get enough. I didn't even ask you to come over. I didn't even ask you to come over. Why do I have to explain? Touching me when I said no, it's not okay. When we behaved the way you did that day, you're the first to throw stones and talk breaking bones. Anytime I stood my ground, you would probably put me down. Instead of apologize, you would criticize. You said I should have known I wasn't wanted, and I left you by those words I wanted. I should have known I wasn't wanted. You said I should have known I wasn't wanted. I should have known I wasn't wanted. You said I should have known I wasn't wanted. Thank you. I'm gonna look at your comments. Hello, everyone. Hi, Nick. Hi, JT. Oh, JT, I'm so glad you're on here and feeling healthy enough to watch my show. Not that that's very hard to do in quarantine, but I was worried about you. Kate, Nat, Sarah. Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here. We have the sunset light streaming in from my studio window right now. It's really good timing for a show. Okay, so that song was called Haunted. It's on my album Shadow, and so I've been talking about accountability and punitive justice not being great, but accountability being great. And then I was saying, we shouldn't kick people out of communities, but out of our lives, that's fine. And maybe some of you have comment if you've had the experience of someone kicking you out of their life and not telling you why, and so you just get ghosted by a friend, never know what you did. It's happened to me. Are you surprised? Not because of who I am, but because I was asking that question. I hope that you are surprised, actually. Sometimes it's important to kick someone out of your life, and when I do it, I try to do it with as much empathy as possible, which sometimes just means telling a person why and not giving them anything more than that. I wrote this next song about a friend who cut me out without telling me why, and wow, that just, it creates this annoyingly nagging, like pretty painfully nagging, constant mystery, whatever. It's awful. This song is called What Have I Done? And there's a beautiful video for it on YouTube where I'm wearing an all-white tailcoat tuxedo. And it's shot in two really stunning locations. It features Julie Odell, who's an incredible songwriter and singer. What have I done? What have I done to make you run? What did I do? What did I do to hurt at you. What did I say? What did I say that wasn't okay? What did I do to you? How did I offend in the end to make me lose my friend? Was it a felony? My failed hegemony that made me your enemy. You made me your enemy. What did I do to you? Does it even matter? Does it matter? We are all shattered. We've all been broken. We're all broken, and that goes unspoken. We're short up together, sharp pieces all tethered, but when we bump into each other, we cut one another. What did I do to you? Oh, all I can be, oh, all I can be is me. I won't always be right. 'Cause when I do wrong, I apologize. I hope you come around, but I can't let you bring me down. What have I done? What did I done to make you run? What did I do? What did I do to hurt you? What did I say? What did I say that wasn't okay? What did I do to you? What did I do to you? What did I do to you? Thank you all for being here. It's very nice to still be able to play, even though I can't be on tour. I was going to be this evening, right now, at this very moment. I would have been live and in person on stage at the Pinhook in Durham. And since I couldn't be there live, I had to cancel my tour, like lots of bands had to do. You know, musicians depend on large gatherings of people to make a living. So we're doing it another way now. And this is the way that we're doing it. So you can tip for this show if you'd like to. If you are financially struggling, if you are out of work right now, also if you are not financially stable, please feel no pressure and just enjoy the show. And if you are able, if you are financially stable, if you still have employment, please do send a tip for this show. And the options are in the comments and kind of arriving at the bottom of the screen sometimes. You can Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, and the tips are split between me and the Pinhook. And the reason that shows like this are important is that, I depend on the venues to make a living, and the venues depend on the musicians. And generally speaking, outside of quarantine, we help each other out. So we're continuing to do that now. I want venues, and Pinhook is more than just a venue. I think it's like a collective of people promoting events, and that's, it's rare to find that, and it's so awesome. So I want to make sure that they survive this pandemic. So please send a tip if you are able. And okay, story time. In 2010, I visited New Folsom Prison for the first time. And I was there to play a concert, 3 concerts. And I'd never been inside of a prison before. And I thought going in that it would be an interesting story, an interesting experience, one interesting day, and it turned into a 10-year collaborative project. Because I left the prison that first day knowing that experience had changed my life more than any other experience up until that point, and still. And I didn't know how, but I kept going back to the prison for 5 years, and I started collaborating with writers and musicians there. And we wrote an album together. And a few years later, in like 2014, I approached DiFranco about producing that album, and we've been recording it over the past 6 years. And it's releasing June 5th. So keep an eye out for that. One of the songs on the album is written by a man named Ken Blackburn. He is 77 years old, and he's serving life without parole. There's a blue sky outside my window, and there's never a trace of rain. You've been gone so long this time, little girl. I think I'm over you, all over again. Yes, I think I'm over you, all over again. I no longer think of the loving you must be giving to some other man. I don't even miss that sweet and kiss. Yes, I think I'm over you, all over again. Yes, I think I'm over you, all over again. I even stop crying out loud. Maybe someday you'll get tired of leaving. Maybe someday I'll be through with the pain. Till then, I'll just have to tell myself I think I'm over you all over again. Yes, I think I'm over you all over again. Yes, I think I'm over you all over again. So, if you don't know this already, the United States has the largest prison population per capita. We incarcerate the most people out of any other country in the world. It's a pretty bummer record to hold. And 10% of those 2 million people that live behind bars in prisons and jails in this country, 10% of them are serving without parole, and 24% of people with life without parole are serving that sentence for non-violent crimes. So they've been sentenced to die in prison, and they haven't hurt anyone. So, physically. Pretty messed up. And believe it or not, there are places that are worse than the prison that I went into, New Folsom. And New Folsom is, wow, it's really shockingly awful. Some of the concerts that I played were for people in solitary confinement, and I would be in this little room, and in this section of the prison, all of the incarcerated people were wearing white jumpsuits, and whenever they were outside of their cells, they had handcuffs on, their ankles were shackled, and then often they were chained to each other, and there'd be like a line of them being led by a guard or two. So the concert that I played was in this room, and the audience members were brought in one by one, and they were brought into the hall all chained to each other, like I told you, and then unchained from each other, and then their ankle cuffs would come off outside the room, and then they would go into the room and be put into an individual cage just big enough for a person to sit or stand in. And then they would put their hands out of a little door and get their handcuffs off, and then that little door would be closed and locked. So, I saw things like that were pretty shocking, that before going into the prison, I didn't even know was happening in this country. And there are places that are worse than that. And those places are immigrant detention centers, and they're worse for a variety of reasons. Most of them are run by private industry, unlike state prisons are not private. And I was in a state prison. But within detention, most of them are privately run. And also because the people in them are not citizens of this country, they have fewer rights. And also the only thing that they did to get into prison, for the most part, is save their own life. So I wrote a song called Rise, based on my experience. Hold on, I'm missing something. Based on my experience of playing inside the prison and my experience working with folks after they've been released, which is also really challenging because you're still in the system and you're also dealing with the trauma of having survived that system, which is no small obstacle. The song is called Rise. Ooh, 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 No one should live inside a cage. I don't believe it keeps us safe. Darling, it's all about money. Nothing is too precious, honey. It's all about the money, honey. Rise, rise, rise. And bodies like bricks built. Somebody's building empires, leaving behind a trail of fire. From the ash rises a choir, rises a choir. Rise, rise, rise. Muffled voices through the wall. High price paid for a phone call. We amplify as we multiply. So listen as the silence dies. Hear the choir rise. Rise, 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 rise. Two years ago, I'm trying to keep my face out of this really bright sunspot, but it's really hard because it just pushes me up against the wall back here, but that's okay. I like the wall. 2 years ago, my grandfather died, and he was a Holocaust survivor. And so because he died 2 years ago, only 2 years ago, he saw Trump get elected, and he saw the refugee crisis with Syrian people seeking asylum and being rejected by wealthy countries. And he said all of this, the political climate, it all reminded him of Europe just before the Holocaust. And he's not just someone that like escaped right before, like missed the worst of it. He was captured, he watched his whole family die. Before he was captured, he was a teenager, and he fought in the resistance. And mostly what he did was forge papers for people to escape Nazi-occupied Holland. And one of the things that he did to accomplish that was he went into a Gestapo office and faked the reason that he was there, and somehow tricked the person at the desk to leave the desk and stole an official stamp. And the first time he actually stole the wrong stamp, so he had to go back a second time. And when I heard these stories of his when I was a kid, I used to wonder what kind of person I would be if I were, let's say, in that situation like him, but let's say not Jewish. Would I conform out of fear and just try to stay out of trouble, or would I fight the power and try to protect the people that were being persecuted or genocided? And I don't have to wonder anymore. We don't have to wonder anymore what kind of people we are in a world where people seeking asylum are being imprisoned and children are dying in detention centers at the border. We don't have to wonder anymore. We are living a Holocaust right now, and the only reason it's not being given that name, I think, is because the people that are dying and being imprisoned don't look white like Jewish people do, like I do. So speaking of whiteness and privilege, I'm going to play a song about privilege. It's called Possibilities. And in this song, I was thinking about the privileges I do have and the privileges I don't have. And when I think about the ones that I do have, I try to think of them not as something to be ashamed of, but as a possibility, as an opportunity to share. And I can't share my whiteness, obviously, but I can share the things that my whiteness gives me access to. So I invite you to think on that, think on the ways that you might be privileged and ways that you might more effectively be sharing what you have access to based on that privilege while you listen to this song. And I think sometimes people can get really defensive because privilege is thought of as something that's very shameful these days. It's not. It's something that is good for you. For the person who has it, it's very good. And for the most part, you didn't choose it unless it's wealth privilege, which people choose. And then even if they're born into it, they're actively choosing to continue to have it and not share it. But in terms of whiteness or gender or sexuality, these things, we don't choose them. So like if you have those kinds of privilege, you don't have to be ashamed of it. It's something that is nice for you. And hopefully you're the kind of person that wants to share it in terms of the access that you have, which is a lot of things. When you think about the things that you have access to that other people don't have access to, the pay gap, wage gap is maybe the most evident thing that white men make more money than anyone else. So, how do you, if that's you or whatever it is that you are, whatever you have access to, think on it. Here's this song called Possibilities. What if you've been told that you were strong, that you could play along, that you were born to play this game and you were born to win? What if you've been told you couldn't be wrong, that you would always belong? What if you've been told you could take what you need, that you were born to be free? Ooh, no one knows the possibilities, oh, the possibilities. What if you've been told that you would go far? What if you've been told that you could play the guitar? What if you've been told that you could make money as if it could be made honestly? What if you've been told that you were smart, that everything you made was a work of art, that if you tried you would succeed, and everyone agreed? Ooh, no one knows the possibilities, oh, the possibilities. What if you've been told your idea should be heard, that your thoughts should be put into words, that everyone appreciates your advice because you were always right? What if when you turned on the TV you thought, hey, the heroes all look like me? What if you've been told and you believed you could be what you wanted to be? Ooh, no one knows the possibilities, oh, the possibilities. I'm telling you now, if it's not too late, you deserve it all, then you shouldn't have to wait. If someone tells you that you're unworthy, then turn around and leave. I'm telling you now, if it's not too late, you deserve it all, then you shouldn't have to wait. If someone tells you that you're unworthy, then turn around and leave. Ooh, no one knows the possibilities, oh, the possibilities. Ooh, no one knows the possibilities, oh, the possibilities. So, the kind of privilege I was thinking about that I don't have during that song, can you guess? Can you guess what it is? Male privilege. I don't have it. And when I wrote that, I was specifically thinking about the way that that impacts how I'm able to navigate the music industry, which is an industry that I've been in for 15 years. And, I've observed the way that this industry is male dominated that whole time. I mostly work with men. Not when I make an effort, but when I'm not making an effort, mostly I work with men, other bands, sound people, recording engineers, producers, bandmates. A lot of these folks are men. It's hard to find other women in the industry, and because it is so male dominated, it can be hard to relate to the other women in the industry because we feel that there's so little space for us, and we're right that there's so little space for us. So it creates this competition, and so not every woman in the music industry is hard for me to work with, but some, it makes it harder to. It's hard, and I knew it was hard. And then I was invited to talk at a university in Switzerland last year about gender disparity in the music industry. And so I did some research as to not just give a talk on my own experience. And I found this study of the 2018 100 top Billboard charts. And the numbers are so much more depressing than I even thought. 22% of the performers on those top 100 songs are women. So 22% of the top paying performing jobs in music are available to women. That's 78% men. That's a huge difference. And 12% of the songwriters on those top 100 songs were women. Less than 2% of the producers were women. So even when a song is performed by a woman, it's going through male filters. The writer, the producer, the other bandmates, there's a lot of male influence. And that's not just unfair. It's dangerous. It actually creates a misperception about who women are. I'm going to give an example. There's the song I use as an example is just one of so many. When I was getting ready to give this talk, I made a post on Facebook asking for examples of songs that glorify non-consent, and no other post I've ever made has gotten so many comments. It's depressing. And so this is a pretty light example, actually, but this is a song that I used to really love and sing along to unconsciously, and then I decided I wanted to cover it, so I learned it for real, and so that I really learned the lyrics. I'm driving in my car, turning on the radio. I'm pulling you close, you just say no. You say you don't like it, girl, I know you're a liar. Just in case you weren't listening, I'm pulling you close, you just say no. You say you don't like it, but girl, I know you're a liar. So that's pretty disturbing. This Bruce Springsteen wrote that, and it was made famous by the Pointer Sisters. So sung from the woman's perspective. I just say no. Oh, I say I don't like it, but you know I'm a liar. So that's even worse. That's even more dangerous of kind of a attitude of what women want. Promoting the idea that women are lying or playing hard to get or want to be seduced. This promotes violence against women because music is culture. It's part of our culture. So I don't think it's any coincidence that we live in a rape culture and there's rape in all of our most popular songs. So this is one important reason that we need to be supporting artists, songwriters, and people, and really anyone in the music industry who's not a man. So on that note, if you would like to send a tip for this show, you can. My Venmo is Zoe Bookbinder. Cash App, no dash. And then you can PayPal me if you'd like to, paypal.me/binder. So yeah, if you want to support a non-man in the music industry right now, bonus, one with a feminist message, send me a tip right now. And I'm splitting my tips with the Pinhook in Durham, which I'm so happy to be collaborating on this show with, because they are radical and they book lots of queer art, and I'm really into them. I have a crush on them, actually, but I don't want you to tell them, so please just keep that a secret. Okay, so you can listen to mostly women musicians without too much effort. You just got to put a little effort in, because if you just take what the people on high are giving you, it's going to be male dominated. That's the way the music industry is. It's even worse than other industries. But if you put a little effort in, there are so many incredible women and queer folk out there making music. You don't have to compromise your standards to listen to only women, actually. And there's this woman that I met a few years ago, Shenandoah Davis. Met her like 12 years ago. And she's a songwriter that she's so good that I felt sort of like maybe I should stop because she's out there doing what I do, but a lot better than me. And I wrote this song about her called Paralyzing. But instead of feeling paralyzed, I went on tour with her. I asked her to produce an album for me, and we continue to work together to this day. Here's Paralyzing. When you go, you don't look back. You don't look back. When you go, you don't look back, back. Don't look back. I didn't know when it's time to go. Oh, those eyes it's frightening. No matter what you say, we're all listening. You make me want to stop and measure up to what you've got. Everything about you say I like you is pretty better than my screaming. Your honesty makes me feel like I'm not even listening to you. It's much like dreaming. Paint on my clown face and I can take anything. Doesn't matter what I'm saying, you don't mean a thing. When your lips find the words fall out, they crawl across the floor and follow me. When you go, you don't look back. You don't look back. When you go, you don't look back, back. Don't look back. I didn't know when it's time to go. Oh, hey, ooh. Everything about you's realizing it was pretty better than my screaming. Your honesty makes me feel like I'm not even listening to you. It's much like dreaming. Paint on my clown face and I can sing anything. Doesn't matter what I'm saying, it don't mean a thing. When your lips find the words fall out, they crawl across the floor and follow me. Thanks so much for watching. Oh yes, I love this. I have a person, Kim, who's making this all, like the little banner at the bottom happen. I love the applause banner because then I can say thank you, which I'm used to doing when I play a live show, and I've really been missing like the silence in between. Yes, the silence in between songs is so. It feels hard. I'm getting used to this new world of live music. So, thanks, Kim. It's helped me a lot. If only I need like an audience that can sound effect that I can just press play on. Right? I should have that. I should get that going somehow. New idea. Okay. So. Speaking of Shenandoah, when she was producing this album for me, which is called Darling Specimens, by the way, released in 2011. Jeez, so long ago. We were recording it, and she said, I think this album is missing a song. So just write a song right now. In the next few days before we get to the studio, just hurry up and write a song. And it's this. It's called Saltwater. jetting I fell 50 feet into salt water. Scrambled to hold on, be lost forever. He said he was from my own state. I watched as I was swabbing away. I knew he was, but still I'm so surprised. If you got started, it's skipped a million times. How was I supposed to know I'd end up in the undertow? A weevil rope was hanging off the back of his freight line. So did I catch myself and crawl up inside it. I woke and I was alive before I knew if I had survived. I knew it once, but still I'm so surprised. If you got stoned and it's skipped a million times, how was I supposed to know I'd end up in the undertow? I'll learn to forgive mistakes and be forgiven for the ones I've made. I'll learn to forgive mistakes and be forgiven for the ones I've made. I knew it once, but still I'm so surprised. If you got started and it's skipped a million times, I knew it once, but still I'm so surprised. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Thank you to Kim for giving the applause. And all of you also. I love the little hands in the comments. That's very helpful. I'm going to go. I have a habit of just going to read all the comments after my show, and it makes me very happy. So thank you for commenting, and I will read them after this next song. This next song is my last song. And if you're watching on Instagram, you might get cut off in the middle of this last song because Instagram Live has an hour limit. But if you want to watch the entirety of this song, you can go to my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Zoe Bookbinder Music. And it will be there. So is that Chris Grady? Chris Grady. I feel like I should get my trumpet out. Chris Grady gave me a trumpet once. It's so beautiful, and I don't play it enough, to be totally honest. So thank you for being here. And yeah, if you're able to, please send a tip. I'm splitting the tips with the venue, the Pinhook in Durham, North Carolina. It's also, they have an emblem right here in the corner, right there. I'm poking it. Okay. They're awesome. And so anything you send tip-wise for this show will be split with the venue. And, venues and musicians all need support right now because we can't make money like we normally do. And actually, I've started a new thing because I've been, brainstorming. I had to cancel a tour So I've been brainstorming ways to replace that income. And what I'm doing is offering song commissions, and that could be a cover song. You know, there's birthdays passing and anniversaries passing and all these events passing where we don't get to be with our loved ones. So if you want to give someone a gift and you can't be with them, I could cover their favorite song, or I could write a song for them based on, you know, the way you met, or their pet, or I could give an amateur tarot card reading for them and turn that into a song. And if you want, I gave an example on my Instagram account this morning, if you want to go look, that I'm naked. The guitar is covering the things, but you know, it's cute. So if you'd like a naked song commission, clothes are also an option. It's clothing optional, up to you, whether or not I wear clothes. Hit me up and we can talk about what that would look like. And send tips for the show, pretty please, thank you. For those on Instagram, you might not be seeing where to send that. Venmo is Zoe Bookbinder. Cash App is just Zoe Bookbinder, no dash. PayPal.me/Zoe Bookbinder. And thank you to Kim, thank you to Sarah for helping to make this all run smoothly. And here's my last song. Thank you for watching. For years my heart's been pumping my blood, but it was reborn in the flood. Oh, our love is so young, and I don't believe there's just one. Although I know our love's so young, and I don't believe there's just one. Oh, I've never wanted someone so much, I've been so scared to mess it up. It does not matter which of us is right or wrong. That's not the line there. The actual line is, over time I have formed calluses. You say soften your sharp edges. You should know I would not melt for you right now, even if I remembered how. And I know I don't need you here, still I cannot shake this fear. Although I know that I don't need you here, still I cannot shake this fear. Oh, I had never wanted someone so much, I've been so scared to mess it up. It does not matter which of us is right or wrong. Before I met you, I felt strong. It's clear to me that this will break before it bends. I'm learning to be wary when I have never wanted someone so much. I've been so scared to mess it up. Oh, I had never wanted someone so much. I've been so scared to mess it up. Oh, I had never wanted someone so much. I've been so scared to mess it up. Oh, I had never wanted someone so much. I've been so scared to mess it up. Oh, I had never wanted someone so much. I've been so scared to mess it up. Oh, I had never wanted someone so much. I've been so scared to mess it up. Oh, I have never one dated someone so much. I've been so scared to mess it up. Oh, I have never one dated someone so much. I've been so scared to mess it up. Oh, I have never one dated someone so much. I've been so scared to mess it up. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tipping. Don't tip if you can't or it's too hard. That's fine. I mean, hard financially, not logistically. Thank you so much for being generous with your time and your ears and your eyes. I'm grateful to you for being here with me because playing music for people is the thing that I love most. And I was worried I wouldn't get to do it under quarantine. And it turns out that I can. So thanks so much. And yeah, that's it. I actually don't know how to end this thing. So I think Kim's going to do it for me at some point. Hopefully. Love you. Bye.